Well, hello, and welcome back to the Vineyard here at Promise Lutheran Church, Murrieta, California. I'm Pastor Chris Degnatel. Just came off a little bit of a vacation, and just want to share with you today some good news. Hearing about being renewed. That's our word today. It's being renewed. You know, it's amazing. These vineyards have to depend upon rain. You know, can you imagine living your livelihood that way? That you have to depend on the weather? I mean, I lived in Indiana for a while, and I know those guys, man, they watch their computer, they're watching the weather forecast, they want to know what's going on all the time because their livelihoods depend on it. When you have 600,000 acres and you're working that field every year, you have wheat and soybean and corn, and you turn it over every single year, and if that doesn't show a profit, they get hit 2-3 years in a row, and they're done. They sell their property, and they're all over. Can you imagine being that dependent on something as loose-fitting as the weather? I mean, who can control that other than God? I mean, it's just subject to a whim. Every year we get this really hot period in which our grapes kind of melt and they turn into raisins. And last 2-3 years we've been really hit hard. This year we're having what's called diurnal nights, or days, and that means it's warm in the day and cool at night. So right now there's a cool breeze, and our grapes just love it. As you can see right here, our grapes are turning purple, and so they're already beginning to progress and be these going to be amazing vines this year as we get, hopefully we don't get that heat wave. If you think about that as at the weather and dealing with the weather all the time in your life, it's ever changing, isn't it? You never know what's going to be next. And as you can probably guess where I'm going with this, our life, we never know what's next. We never know what's happening, and we feel stuck. We feel like we're pushing our life along and don't have any understanding. Well, God has these beautiful words in 2 Corinthians 4:16. He says, "Therefore, do not lose heart." Don't lose heart. Though outwardly we're wasting away, yet inwardly we're being renewed day by day. Inwardly we're being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but as what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. Our bodies, our crops, our minds, all those things, they waste away. We get older, things fall apart. Our grapes, we don't know what it's going to be from one season to the next. This line over here is just all purple. They're just so beautiful. And halfway through August, we could get those 105 day weeks, and they're toast. And you can't pick them early because they won't taste good. And you leave them on the vine, you lose them. It's just a lost crop. But you see, inside of us, we're being renewed constantly. Our God is renewing us. Your mind was not the same 20 years ago as it is today, as it will be 20 years from now. Our faith will not be the same. It constantly grows. So all the more why we have to be accepting of each other, because God is renewing us daily, changing us daily as we grow through our life. We're understanding things in a different way. Say the Lord's Prayer at 15, at 25, at 35, at 40, at 60. Ask any of those people that are older, and they'll tell you each time they say it, it means something different to them. These words will mean something different. As you're a young person, renewing your mind, changing your mind, that has a different connotation to it than when you're 50 years old and you're renewing those thoughts that you had, that faith that you had, you begin to renew it. And it sounds so different to us. And that's what God is doing in us. And so what is the recipe for us as people? Well, one is that this is life. And sometimes, man, it's hard. It's really hard. But I can't control the heat that comes. I can't control a virus that spreads. I can't control the wind and our breath and our spit and how that's going to affect other people and transfer diseases that we may touch something and touch something else. I can't control that. I mean, I could be cautious, but the reality is, things get in the wind and you can't stop it. A person sneezes, that's going to float. It's just the way that it is, and we do our best to live with it. That's something we must understand. But inside, we are being renewed, and we're not stagnant. We don't have to be stagnant. We don't have to sit there and die in our homes. We can actually begin to think and dream and adapt and find new ways of doing things. As I'm trying to learn new ways of doing things in our church, I've been putting up lights and we'll be running electricity and video devices. That we're changing, we're adapting, that we might reach more people in the long run. Just think about it. How much more we'll be able to reach because now we can come into people's homes. I never did this thing before. And so there's a blessing inside of the curse. And so today, my dear friends, whether it's your spouse or a friend or a brother or a church person, God is renewing their faith. God is renewing them inside. He's developing. Why should we not allow them the time to develop? Allow them the opportunity to grow and understand that sometimes they might be a little cantankerous. Maybe they might not be happy. Maybe they might be wrestling with their faith. And that's okay. We understand that. They're working through it. In the same way, here's another example, just an impromptu example. For the people who are young moms, right? That when you have your first baby, you're scared to death and everything is new and fresh. And you're not really sure what to do. And people tell you all the horror stories about, I had a 36-hour labor and all that kind of stuff, right? By the second and third child, it's not the same anymore because we've got a different perspective on life. We understand what that's like. And so as we go through this, don't be afraid. God is renewing you inside if you just get out of his way. Allow him to work with us. Allow him to enter our life and show us through his word and through experience that he is there. And have confidence and faith in him that he's renewing my spirit every single day. And I'm going to sometimes go, like I told, it's like a slinky. Sometimes I'm going backwards, feel like I'm going backwards. And other times I feel I'm coming forwards and up. But each time on another rung of the slinky, moving further down the line. And so, my dear friends, today, we are being renewed. It says, do not lose heart, though outwardly we are wasting away, that's right. But inwardly, day by day, we're being renewed by our Father in heaven. Be renewed today, renewed in our thinking, renewed in who we are, renewed in our baptism, renewed in our forgiveness, renewed that our God loves us. And now live, my dear friends. Adapt, overcome, and live. May God bless you. This is Pastor Chris Degnatel here in the Vineyard at Murrieta, California, Promise with the Church. See you next week.